Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, what condition my condition was in.
This will be a newsy Roy Smalley show, also known as Roy Smalley's Chin Music. By the way, Roy, somebody came up to me the other day and said, chin music, that's like a boxing term, isn't it? I'm like, God, we have to educate the baseball populace. It is absolutely a baseball term. It's always been a baseball term. And in this case, it refers not only to the fastball aimed at somebody's chin as a message, but also it's a double entendre because we end up talking about music as well. We need to get the word around. We don't want to have to explain baseball terminology to a baseball fan base. So chin music absolutely is a baseball term. This is our baseball show on TalkNorth.com. Roy is the former all-star shortstop for the Minnesota Twins, FSN announcer, one of the best analysts in the country. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. Please follow us at Talk North Pod on Twitter. Please download before you listen. And if you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach me at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to our sponsors, Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com, and Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin, Hoaglund. Let's get right into it. The Twins decided to sign Max Kepler and Jorge Polanco to long-term deals that eat up a little bit of their free agency, that kind of prevent them from having to spend a ton in arbitration if these guys go crazy. And for the players' side, it gives them security. Even if they don't perform, they're going to get paid very well over the next 5 years or so. I don't want to get into the weeds on the numbers and the dollars amount so much as the philosophy behind it. Basically, the Twins are investing in two young players they really like who really haven't done it yet, Roy, except for maybe a couple months here or there. And one of them, Jorge Polanco, who's very well thought of in the organization, did get suspended for 80 games after being accused of using performance-enhancing drugs. So this is a fascinating deal to me in that these guys really haven't done it, but this organization obviously has decided they believe in them. I'll let you take it from there.
It is an interesting set of signings, but I don't think you can disregard the amount of money they're paying in discussing the overall philosophy, because it basically once again in today's relative terms, they signed two young players with a lot of potential to very reasonable contracts. I almost feel like in today's game, what they signed these guys for and how long they locked them up is a good price, even if they're the same or only moderately better than what they've been. That's just been, just with a shaking of the head. It's just the way the dynamics of the game, are now. If they turn out to be the players that they think they're going to be, it's a steal. It's ridiculously cheap, and I think it's worth the risk. This isn't one of those deals where, okay, it's a 70-30 or something, pick a number, 70-30 odds that they're going to get better. This is a good amount of money. This is a reasonable amount, if not a steal kind of amount of money for a 70-30 chance. And if 30 happens, well, that's worth the gamble. So I think I think the signings are in today's game, a very good deal. And I didn't see anything about no trade clauses. Don't know enough about
these kind of deals.
Contracts.
These kind of deals almost never have no trade clauses.
Right. And so that actually discounts the deal even more. I mean, it gives them an opportunity to have either of those players be, 20 or 30% more attractive to another team in a potential trade. So I think the whole thing was well done. As another example of the Twins not making blockbuster moves yet, but making really solid moves in terms of value received for the money that they're having to pay.
But now, Roy, where are they going to fit Bryce Harper in the payroll in the lineup?
Well, and that's the thing that, the Twins and baseball fans have to remember as we're, as you and I, as you know, I've been on the Kimball train for, 6 or 8 weeks, but 6 or 8 weeks ago, I think I started talking about that, maybe longer, and Bryce Harper is kind of a fun thing to talk about. But the young players that they have still are in, and they keep saying it. I mean, we have a core group of players, young players that we really, really believe in. So if that's the case, you got to sign them, and they're doing that relatively cheaply, but it's like they're like free agent signings. They haven't made a blockbuster deal, but they have these young guy contracts working in the background of the budget that they have to consider going forward.
Let's get deeper into what we think of Polanco and Kepler as players, what they might produce. The interesting thing is they're both, Polanco is a good fielder and he's very athletic, but you're signing him because you think he has offensive potential. You could find a better fielding shortstop if all you cared about was the glove. They're signing him to hit the way he did, 2 years ago down the stretch. Kepler, they're signing him to hit, and he has produced some power, but hasn't, neither of them has produced an 800 OPS for an entire season. And obviously they want both these guys to be well over that if they're going to pay him a reasonable amount of money. So they're projecting here. Let's get Roy's projection on what these guys could be. First, let's thank Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com. As I told you last week, I was driving down First Avenue, saw a Berry Coffee employee out there with no gloves, no hat, no nothing, just loading tons of stuff up for the office buildings because so many people, avail themselves now of Berry Coffee's services and products. And they're putting in a second roaster. They are growing. They are providing a wide range of commercial espresso equipment. They do same-day service, and Roy can tell you about their service.
Well, we talked about it an awful lot, and I think what you saw was the kind of the embodiment of that, right from the owner, Steve Graham, all the way down. And they've instilled that kind of service orientation throughout the whole organization, and it really drives. It not only drives what you would normally consider as service, but it drives the kind of products that they have as well, because I think they believe it's, and I know Steve does. I mean, it's service to clients, service to mankind, and so the ability to have state of the art, cutting edge, healthful kinds of food and beverage for employees is at the forefront of what they do.
Absolutely. Check them out at berrycoffee.com. Full range of, again, anything you could want for your business, your restaurant, your bar, everything from tea to pop to healthy stuff to carbonated water. Just check them out. Berrycoffee.com, a great website with all kinds of information on their business. So we'll keep telling you about different aspects of the business as we go forward here. So they are projecting Kepler and Polanco to be very good to very good players. What do you see in their future? Well,
it's up in the air. It's conceivable that they are who they are, to paraphrase Denny Green. But it's also, it's not likely that they've reached their maximum potential, that they're going to be worse, going forward. So I think we're seeing a baseline to potentially higher for both of those guys. You're right about Polanco. It's all about his bat. Shortstop is one of those positions, catcher being the other one, where I think there really is a finesse of the combination of offense and defense that you get from a player. And it's, we've talked about this before. If Pedro Florimon a few years back, playing shortstop, could have hit 250, maybe even 240. He might still be the Twins' shortstop, just because of how dazzling his defense is, and I mean dazzling in spectacular plays, routine plays, day in, day out. He was terrific, and I think was going to get better and better and better. He just was never going to hit enough. In the American League especially, you can't look at, all the offenses going around and around the league night in, night out, and have a guy hitting a $190 or 210 or whatever it is. There's not any room for that, as good as the defense is. With Polanco, you're right that just defensively they could get a better shortstop. Could they get a better shortstop for this kind of money if he plays every day and produces offensively like he has up until now and continues to get better? No, I don't think it would take somebody pretty special. You don't get shortstops of that caliber of combination of better defense of Polanco and as good or better offense. Those guys are potential Hall of Famers. So I think they expect Polanco to continue to improve both defensively and with experience, and offensively just becoming more consistently like the hitter we've seen in the fantastic streaks we've seen. I like him as a hitter. I guess the only thing on my mind is I never know. I don't know what steroids mean. I don't know what performance enhancing drugs means once you're no longer taking them. I don't know what that means. I don't know how that translates. There have been guys like Nelson Cruz who, and I don't even know what it was specifically, if anything, that he took, but he was implicated. He served some suspension. When he came back, there was no difference. Brady Anderson, or I don't want to call out guys and I'm wrong, but I know Brady Anderson hit 50 home runs one year from Baltimore, and hit 7 the rest of his career. So I don't know how it affects Jorge Polanco. I really don't know, but I think it's worth the gamble that performance enhancement or not, he's going to be a good hitter.
Right, and with Kepler has shown power. 17, 8, 19, 20 home runs the last 3 years. Obviously, his batting average has not been good. His on-base percentage has not been good. So he has power. He has a great athletic body. He can play right field. He looks like a guy who could do everything pretty well and maybe a couple things really well. The question is he either going to raise his average / on-base percentage enough to be a complete offensive player, or is he going to hit enough home runs where you don't worry about the other categories so much?
And I think that part of the intrigue with Kepler, and part of the reason he got the money that he got, is because he's a good defensive player, and I think will continue to get better and better. I really believe that there are some extra special years ahead for him defensively if he hits enough to stay in the lineup every day. I think he has that kind of ability. He has not thrown as well as he can throw in terms of arm strength and accuracy. He's got enough arm strength. His accuracy has been, and some of the throws he's made in the last 3 years have been kind of head scratching. But last year he started to turn the corner, and his throwing was a lot better. And the wild card for me, everything changed. I shouldn't say everything changed. I questioned him last year. I did. All of a sudden, I didn't know what to think about him when he didn't just kill right-handed pitching.
Right.
And that was a shock to me. So I don't know what to think about Max, other than he's such a different kid. And I mean that, I don't mean that in any kind of denigration. He's just a different sort of cat based on how late he started playing baseball, and the fact that he is from originally from a country that baseball is just not part of the deal. And he has learned so much in such a short period of time that I think a guy like that is behind where you might you might see some